Sometimes there's a moment on crisis calls that feels like you're hitting a wall. The person in crisis is flooded with emotion. You know you should say something, but you're not sure exactly what. There's a simple move that can calm things down and get them talking to you, but if you do it the wrong way, you can actually spike their emotions and send the call in the wrong direction. I'll show you what that move is and the one mistake you need to avoid. I'm Troy Seward. I spent 30 years in law enforcement and have trained thousands of officers to communicate more effectively during crisis calls. On mental health calls, people are often in a pretty raw emotional place. And what they're telling you might not be clear, but the emotion behind it usually is. In those moments, it's hard to know what to do or say. That's where emotion labeling comes in. Emotion labeling is simply naming the emotion you're seeing in someone in a way that shows you're trying to understand. By now, you've probably been told repeatedly that labeling emotions is important. But here's the part most officers never hear about. The more specific you are in naming the emotion, the more it will land with someone. Let me show you the two things you need to get right if you want this to work. Step one, identify the specific emotion. Most of us were never trained to name more than a few emotions. Someone's either happy, sad, or angry. That's about it. But on crisis calls, the emotions are much more specific than that. Someone who sounds sad might actually be feeling hopeless or lonely. Someone who sounds angry might really feel frustrated or betrayed. Getting specific and accurately identifying what someone is feeling is what opens the door for real connection once you say it out loud. And that's step two. Share the emotion label in a soft, curious tone. You can ease into it by using phrases like, it seems like you might be feeling, or getting the sense that doing this shows you're not stating a fact or imposing judgment. And that makes it much easier for them to confirm or correct you without feeling challenged. So let's take a look at how this works in real conversations. Say someone tells you, nobody listens, nobody cares, I can't keep doing this. A generic label might be something like, you seem upset, which isn't wrong, but a more specific label would be, it sounds like you feel hopeless. Hopeless does a better job of getting to the heart of what they're actually feeling. Here's another situation you've definitely seen. Imagine someone says, everyone keeps telling me to calm down. They don't get it. Good specific label here might be, it seems like you're feeling frustrated. This gets to the real emotion behind the statement, a sense that no one is hearing them. Okay, here's one more that I'm sure you've heard before. Someone says, I'm so tired of being the problem for everyone. A generic label might be, you sound stressed. But a more accurate label would be, I'm getting the sense that you feel ashamed. And when you get it right like this, people often pause for a second because that specific emotion hits close to home. Most individuals avoid saying it out loud. You can see in these examples, specificity and tone really matter. And you can usually tell when you get it right. The person might look at you, nod, let out a long breath, or say something like, exactly. And then they'll often keep talking. They'll tell you more about what it is that you need to know. Because now they feel like you actually get them. And that's a big part of why emotion labeling helps move the call forward. So, when's the best time to use it? Emotion labeling works best when emotions are running high. Things like fear, rage, or grief, for example. Research shows that naming an emotion in these circumstances helps reduce some of the emotional intensity. Why? Because it helps the person feel understood. And it moves the conversation in a healthier direction without telling them to calm down. But like anything else, you have to use it the right way. Emotion labeling can backfire if you choose the wrong emotion or use a tone that sounds too certain, like you're telling them how they feel. For example, if someone says, I'm just tired of this place, and you label it as anger when it isn't, they may feel judged or snap back because you missed what they were really feeling. That's why the way you say the label matters. Whether you're sure about the emotion or not, keep your tone calm and curious. It should sound like you're honestly trying to understand their emotion and giving them room to clarify it if they need to. So here's today's takeaway. Emotion labeling is a simple and effective tool you could use when emotions are high and the conversation feels stuck. It helps people feel recognized in the moment. It takes some of the heat out of the interaction, and it creates room for them to open up and tell you more of what you actually need to hear. Just remember to aim for more specific emotions, not the broad ones we tend to use, and say them in a calm, curious way. Then you'll often see the person lean in a little more and work with you instead of against you. If you want more practical tools you can use on your next call, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you want one deeper lesson each month, check out my free email called The Insightful Responder. I'll put the link in the description below. Next time, we'll talk about reflection, how it works hand in hand with emotion labeling and helps people keep talking when they start to run out of words. Until then, stay safe out there and train to respond, not just react, so you can make a difference when it matters most.